Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. This is Donnie Henderson, host of the OC Show. I'm back. I'm back. I owe all of you an apology because I've been gone for a lot longer than I should have been gone for. But I'm making a promise to you to be more consistent, to be back on this platform as much as possible. Life happens, but the OC Show will continue, and we are going to have a great show today. Got a lot of very, very positive feedback from the last show. Had Donald Baker on, and we discussed Coach Prime. And at the time, there's a lot of things different going on with Coach Prime, but had a very interesting discussion. Was able to get a lot of very positive feedback. I appreciate the people who gave me the feedback on all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and especially TikTok. TikTok, I got a lot of hits, and I was really, really happy to see that. So for anyone who is watching the show because what you saw on TikTok, glad to have you here. Glad to have everybody here for this episode of the OC Show. Sports Jewel brought to you by IDS Hair Care, the best plant based hair care products for men and women. Check them out. IDS Hair Care products, great products. I am a big fan. I have some of the products. I use the products. I would never, ever uh, suggest something to you folks that I wouldn't use myself. IDS Hair Care products, look them up. I've got the contact information right here on the screen. But the Sports Jewel today has going to be for those of you that know me personally, you know this is going to be a little bit more difficult for me to give props to this program. But Tom Izzo is part of the Sports Jewel for this show. He's been on the bench as the head coach of Michigan State for almost 30 years. He's not only an icon in the state of Michigan, he's a household name for anyone who knows college basketball. He's dedicated most of his professional life to Michigan State University. And as a coach on that type of level, you have to make sacrifices. You sacrifice one of the most important things is time. As a coach on that level, most of his time is not just from, October to March. He's recruiting. He's doing things all throughout the year, the actual calendar year, to get his program ready to be successful. And to be as successful as Tom Izzo is, he's working all year round. So if you're working all year round like that and you have a family, your family's going to suffer as far as, not financially. He's well taken care of financially, but money's not everything. Time. Time is something that he has had to sacrifice with his family. I'm sure his wife and, wishes she had more time with him, but his kids are ones that sacrifice a lot of their things that they have going on to not have their father there. I was very fortunate to have parents that were very involved in everything that I would do. I was always represented by someone, and I tried to make sure that my kids always have somebody represented at their sporting events, at their music concerts, whatever it may be. To Tom Izzo, he can't do that. He has a job that requires him to be everywhere and to be people's, for lack of a better term, father. Tom Izzo has a unique situation. Not so unique. It happens here every once in a while. Like even with the program that I follow with the University of Michigan, head coach Juwan Howard had two of his sons play for him. One who's been drafted to the NBA and one who's still with him. But Tom Izzo has a son who is a fifth-year grad student at MSU, and he hasn't seen too much playing time. He just hasn't been able to get on the floor as much as some other, father son combinations you'd think. He just didn't. He's not a top tier going to go to the NBA type athlete. But Tom Izzo was able to have a moment with his son. His son got into the exhibition game against who did they play? He got into the exhibition game against Hillsdale the other night, and he got fouled, and so he got to go to the free throw line, got the opportunity to be able to score. For all of you are familiar with basketball and play basketball, you want to get in the scorebook. And so it's an important thing to be able to get into the scorebook. And so he was able to get to the free throw line. And so at this moment, Tom Izzo was not his coach, he got to be his dad and got very, very emotional on the sideline as his son sank both of those free throws. Not a big deal to sink a couple of free throws in an exhibition game of a college game, especially you got Michigan State University playing Hillsdale, Division two school, I believe. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but to Tom Izzo, he got to sit there and be a father. He got to be a father for once and see his son have an important achievement because getting in the scorebook for him is an important achievement. He's not going to see much time. When March Madness comes around, NCAA tournament comes along, he's going to be at the end of that bench cheering that team on. He's not going to get into the game. Tom Izzo broke down into tears as his son sunk both of those free throws. He got to be a father. And so Sports Jewel goes to Tom Izzo, Michigan State University, for this time and this time only. I'll say it. Go green, go white. That's the Sports Jewel. Again, Sports Jewel brought to you by IDS Hair Care, the best plant-based hair care products for men and women. Check them out. They are great. They are great. Now, let me get into the meat of the show today, the meat of the show. I am always going to shoot you straight. I'm going to be objective when it comes to certain things because as sports fans, and this is what I'm going to talk about today, sports fans, we are the biggest hypocrites on earth. And, when it comes right down to it, sports isn't very important. Sports is fun and sports is an outlet. Sport is something that we can, kind of come together with as a community as far as, if you're all in the same city or, you all went to a school or whatever it may be. Sports is a fun, it's an outlet. But we're hypocrites. Who do you root for? And this is what I want from you folks. I want from the audience. I want from my OC show fan audience. I want you guys to interact with me. Who do you root for and why? Who do you root for? Why do you root for these certain teams? There's certain reasons, a couple of reasons why we root for. We have sport. We have their loyalty to a sports team, and we're born in an area of the country. I was born in the state of Michigan, so I root for Michigan. I was born in the city of Detroit. I'm not going to front and say I lived in Detroit. I didn't live in Detroit, but I'm a Detroit sports fan. It's Pistons, Lions, and Tigers, and Red Wings. I am a Detroit sports fan, and I root for the University of Michigan. It's not Michigan State, it's Michigan for me. I am a sports fan, a Michigan sports fan, Detroit sports fan. I have loyalty to the city. Some people have loyalty to a person. Some people, you can go on the LeBron versus Jordan thing. People are loyal to LeBron, and wherever team LeBron's going to be on, they're going to root for that team. It's not so much a Jordan LeBron thing, but we'll use LeBron James as an example. Some people root for people, whether it be LeBron James because I like LeBron James and I think he's the greatest, and that's great. And so you're going to follow wherever team he goes to. So you're a Cavs fan, then you're a Heat fan, then you're a Cavs fan again. Now you're a Lakers fan. That's fine. Some people do that, and it's okay. That's the way they show their sports loyalty. Some people are loyal to the community they're from. Like I said, I'm a Detroit sports fan. Some people are also loyal to different. They're loyal to a region of the country. Like for instance, you have the Big Ten, who's supposed to be having you're supposed to be in a region, and you have like the Midwest schools. But since the Big Ten has expanded now, it's kind of hard to root for a region. The best example of this would be the SEC. The SEC fans, Southeastern Conference, they are loyal, to their team first, but they're loyal to that conference. We all have sports loyalties, but we're also hypocrites. And it brings me to the subject today. How far would you go with your team before you drop them? How far? What would it take for you to totally disown your team? Now, let me ask that again. What would it take for you to totally disown your team? Funny that I'm wearing a Michigan hat and a Michigan shirt right now because in the news right now, the University of Michigan football program is under a lot of heat. There's a lot of heat surrounding University of Michigan because and see, here we are sports fans, we're saying I've never played a down for University of Michigan. I've never shot a basket for University of Michigan, but I'm going to say we because I'm a part of that fan base because that's how much I'm invested into the University of Michigan. We at University of Michigan are under a lot of scrutiny because apparently the University of Michigan football team and Connor Stalions, who has been relieved of his position here. I think it was earlier today or yesterday. Um, Apparently, we cheated. We cheated. We decided to go to other stadiums and record the signals of other teams. Now, the sports hypocrisy is going to be flowing a lot from Michigan fans, a little bit from me. But back to my question, what would it take for you to totally disown your team? I can't stand a cheater. I don't. I can't stand a cheater. I've been competitive for as long as I can remember. When I was 7 years old and my parents signed me up to play Southfield Little League in Southfield, Michigan for the Braves, my very first team, at 7 years old, I have been competitive ever since. I want to win. I want to play and I want to win. That's who I am. That's who I've always been. Whatever it is, I want to win. If it's Uno, if it's baseball, if it's basketball, whatever it is, I want to win. And I've had to learn how to control that because I am very, very competitive. But there's a couple things that I won't do. And one of them is cheat. If I win, excellent. My mother, especially my mother, instilled in me how to be a gracious winner and how to be a gracious loser. Because you can't win all the time. But both of my parents said, you're not going to be a cheater. And I can't stand a cheater. If you have to cheat to win, are you really winning? That's not true competitiveness. You can't call yourself a competitor if you're not doing it the right way. I'm going to win the right way, and I want to beat you the right way. I want to win the best way possible. I don't need to cheat. So I can't stand. I'm going to reemphasize again that I can't stand a cheater. So the University of Michigan, again, has been accused of stealing signs from other teams to gain an advantage. So if you were to steal a sign on the football, I mean, you hear stealing signs mostly in baseball when they trying to figure out what pitch is coming next. But to steal signs in football to see what play is coming next would be an advantage. Now, here I go, sports hypocrisy. If you think that Michigan, the University of Michigan, is the only school that does this or has done this, you're mistaken. I would submit that most of the Power 5 schools do this. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's right. Cheating is wrong. Wrong is wrong. Cheating is wrong. And we cannot, as a society, accept or gloss over people who do things dishonestly. If, in fact, the University of Michigan was cheating and they got caught, they should be punished. We should be punished. And if that makes me less of a fan, then so be it. But my sports loyalty is still going to be with them. If they brought the hammer down on Michigan, and I don't think, and people have asked me throughout the week, what do you think is going to happen? I don't think much is going to happen. We, University of Michigan may lose a few scholarships, or maybe get a bowl ban next year or something. But I don't think we're going to get hit that hard. And if we do get hit that hard, let's just say for the sake of conversation, we lose 3 years of eligibility from bowls. Am I going to be less of a Michigan fan? No, because I'm loyal to the University of Michigan, which brings me back to the question, what would it take for you to totally disown your team? What would it take for you to totally disown your team or disown the person that you root for in sports? Some would say maybe excessive losing. Well, if I use that or my Detroit sports family use excessive losing as a reason to disown a team, and some of us probably have, none of us will be Detroit Lions fans. It's easy. It's exciting right now to be a Detroit Lions fan because they're doing well. Who knows what's going to happen the rest of the season? But excessive losing is another reason, might be one reason that you may disown a team. Would you disown a team because of poor ownership? Again, we can use the Detroit Lions as an example. I believe they're heading in the right direction. I'm encouraged by Sheila Ford, Firestone, Sheila Ford. I can't remember Ford. I mean, the ownership. I'm okay with the ownership right now because they're doing well. Would you disown a team because of poor personnel? The guys on the team aren't good. The girls on the team aren't good, and I'm not going to root for this team because they aren't good. These are all legitimate reasons to why you may disown your team. And what I want from you, OC Show, is I want you to tell me who your team is and why you represent that team. Is it because that's where you're from? Is it because you know someone on that team? Or is it because it's a family thing? I want to know who your team is, and I want you to tell me what it would take for you to disown them. Michigan, University of Michigan Wolverine football team, under a lot of scrutiny right now because of a cheating scandal. Am I going to throw to Michigan? I'm going to take this, throw it out the window? Absolutely not. I'm a loyal fan, loyal to a fault sometimes. But will the University of Michigan football team lose some fans because of this? They quite possibly could. They quite possibly could. Sports loyalty, and going back to what I said before, sports fans are hypocrites. I would never, ever, ever cheat to win. But apparently my team cheats to win. But where am I? I'm still right with them. And that's the funny thing about being a sports fan. It's the funny thing about being a sports fan. What will it take for you to just totally disown your team? I'm not a cheater. I don't condone cheating. But apparently Michigan's cheating. But I'm still with them. I'm going to watch them tonight against Purdue. Go blue. What would it take for you? And I want feedback and I want comments down here in the comment section because I want to be able to read off these things because this is not a subject that we're done with. The next show, which will be a lot sooner, and I'm not going to have such a long time between shows this time. The next show, I'm going to read off some of the comments of people of what they've said of who their teams are and why they stay with them and what it would take for them to leave because it's an interesting thing. Sports fans are hypocrites. And I'm being very hypocritical right now because my team apparently are a bunch of cheaters. Allegedly a bunch of cheaters. Who knows? Do I think all the teams do it again? Yes, I do. But who got caught? Michigan got caught. My team got caught. I got those phone calls from you guys that are sometimes a little trollish to me, my friends that say, "Oh, you're Michigan man. What about now? What about now? What about now? Well, I hope they win against Purdue and beat Penn State and then Maryland and Ohio State and go to the playoff. That's what I hope right now." And I'm still a Michigan fan. What would it take for me? That's a question I'd have to ask. What would it take for me for me to not be a Michigan fan anymore? What would it take for you to not be a fan of your team anymore? Sports fandom, a bunch of hypocrites. I'm being a hypocrite right now. What would you do? Again, please, 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 everybody, put in the comments section, whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube, whether it be TikTok. Please give me your thoughts. Give me your feedback. Who's your team? And what would it take for you to totally disown that team? Thanks very much for your time. Another OC show is in the books. I'll be back way sooner than later. Thanks for your support. Thanks for all the positive feedback. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.